Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of the Hyperfixation Supershow, where I have a new tagline every week. In this case, no tagline. So today we're going to be talking about the two games in the I don't even know what to call this series. Uh, it's from Enigma Studios, though. I'm joined by my friend Josh. Hello.
Hello, hello.
And I actually just got done playing the Enigma machine, which was a very crazy and a bit depressing experience. Uh, just last night, I took Josh and a few other friends through the EchoStasis. Was that what it was called?
Yes.
Yeah, it's God. This was such a weird ass game. So let me just. I think I'll start by talking about the Enigma machine because I feel like that's well that I could talk for a long time about the weird shit that I encountered in that game. Okay, so it starts out. It's like I guess I guess I can't really call it a visual novel. That doesn't quite work. It's like a what's the word? Like a text-based adventure game. Okay,
Kinda, yeah.
all right. So basically, this computer AI is telling me about my job, which is like uh, hacking into the dreamscapes of rogue AI. Okay, so it's like a cyberpunk sort of thing. Imagine, oh god, I can't make comparisons because all of this sounds like hipster trash. Like, oh yeah,
Is,
it's
but
it's like AI Somnium files or It Invaded. You guys know what those things are, right? No. Inception? Is that a good? That's a good comparison, right?
kinda.
It works. Okay, so you're talking to this AI, and it's like, yeah, you're gonna learn how to break into the minds of computer programs and stuff, and then you can decontaminate them, as he puts it, because for some reason computers in the future need to be decontaminated, like AIs. Wasn't there like a plot point about that in Halo?
Kinda.
Like Cortana was like gonna die or something because she was gonna think herself to death. So this AI is just like giving you the basics and all that. You can like before you have keywords that you can say, but in this case you can't just say any keyword you want because like in the second game, it's all part. There's like a meta game behind how you play it where you have to search for keywords. But I'll get to that later in a bit. Okay, let me just explain how this thing works. So you go through levels, okay? So like level one, you have to explore this reality. It's like a just in a walking simulator first person sort of thing, and you have to find like codes, and each code will help you decontaminate different levels of the AI. I don't quite understand how this would work, but I guess the best like way to explain it is it's like you're going into somebody's dreams and getting their secrets, and you use those secrets to unlock more of their brain. Uh, makes
Yeah,
sense.
it's something like that, where it's just
Yeah,
figuring out how the thinking works so you can deconstruct it or something.
yeah. So the AI is just telling you that this is a simulation of what an AI's uh, dreamscape would look like, which is kind of kind of a funny thing there, but whatever. It's a simulation of a simulation. And so you're like going in there, and he keeps telling you, "Oh, don't worry, this is just a simulation." And the twist is pretty obvious at the start, like
Yeah,
with how much he talks about how it's just a simulation, guys.
it's totally not.
And it's like, "Here, let me tell you a bit about myself." Uh, oh fuck, I
Fucking
just realized that is.
won't s- won't say the names, but spoilers for that one movie.
Oh, what? Wait. Oh, right, right.
Yeah, I don't want to say the name of the movie because I would just spoil it.
All right, so for all of you guys wanting to know what that is, sorry.
Go fuck yourself. Uh, but yeah, it's just like it's just so interesting to play.
Yeah, yeah. Like the second one was really cool, and this was also pretty neat. Okay, this AI, like he's like, oh, let me tell you a bit about myself, and he says like three things, and it's just like, whoa, that's weird. I thought that I knew a bit more about myself, but for some reason I don't, huh? And so
One of them, Jackie Chan.
no, it's not Jackie Chan. Name three things that aren't Jackie Chan. It says like that it was made by Enigma Corp. It's not. It's Jackie Chan. No. It says a bunch of innocuous things. Okay, but
Yeah.
one of them is just they programmed me to have a favorite color of blue. That's the
Weird.
computer's favorite color. More on
All
that
right.
later. Okay, so you go through level one, and these things unlock in levels. Level one, you just kind of walk through, you find a code. Great. You put the code in the machine, and the AI is like, great, you put the code in. Now you've unlocked level two. Oh, that's weird. I remembered a bit more about myself. Hmm.
Ah.
So the next thing that it remembers is that it used to be an Android, but now it's a computer hooked up to a PC. Huh. Or as they call it, like, I forget what they call. They have a weird word for androids. Every game, I swear to God, every game has a weird word for like robots and stuff. Just call it a
Yeah.
robot. You don't need to call it a Reploid. You don't need to call it a, I don't know, Maverick. What even were they called in Mega Man? They're Reploids and they're not.
Yeah, Reploids and then Mavericks and then fucking.
Yeah,
They have like four names of them.
they do. So okay, and the computer keeps reassuring you that this is don't worry, it's just
Totally
simulation.
not real.
Yeah, and so they say that if you're going through a real AI's dreamscape, then you would normally be able to see like it would just be interconnected, like level one and two and three, they wouldn't be there. It would just be like
One whole thing.
yeah, it would just be one whole structure. Spoiler alert, the game's a Metroidvania. So you go through a lot of these puzzles were actually really clever. You go through level two, which is like a forest or something, or you go through level three, and then things start to get more glitchy, and then you see the decontamination level go to like 60%. All right,
Hmm.
and so you're talking to the AI, and then it remembers that not only was it an android, it was like its name was Red. Okay,
Okay.
that's why they programmed it to have a favorite color of blue.
I was about to say red with the favorite color blue.
Yeah. So they programmed it to have a favorite color of blue just so that it would forget about being named red, I guess. It's weird. And so like as I was going through the game, I'm just like looking around and like it gets especially glitchy in like the level 4 or whatever. And so everything's bugging out. I look up at the sky and I see in like the skybox itself looks like the conversation with the AI. Like you see the computer monitor
Oh.
and text is going up and down, and I see the player character enter in the word gun. Enter.
Oh boy.
So I go to the
You get
computer.
a gun?
Go to the computer terminal. I type in gun. You've unlocked the gun.
Oh. That's a real neat way of doing that.
Yeah, so I equip the gun, and now I can destroy all the breakable walls that I've been seeing throughout the facility.
Okay.
Like the entire dreamscape, I've been seeing breakable walls. At one point, I saw a breakable wall that had a letter C behind it, and I was like, "Oh, that's weird. What's that doing there?" And I was kind of thinking maybe they're gonna unlock at some point. And yeah, that's what it was. The gun is used to break open the walls and go back to other areas.
Hmm.
Classic Metroidvania style. And
Yeah.
so you're going through all these secret levels, and then the AI is like, "Wait a minute, what? This is not supposed to be interconnected. Why is it interconnected? I don't understand." And as you start going through, you find different plaques labeled A, B, C, and D, and the code is split into four parts.
Yeah.
This is like the final code you have to enter, and so I enter in code A, or I find code A, and it's just a bunch of letters. Code B, blah blah blah. As I'm finding the codes, the AI is freaking out and just like, oh crud, my memories come back. I just realized what's going on here, and it basically says, like the AI was an android that got punished for seemingly no reason. Okay, they just decided to disconnect it
Okay.
from its body and put it into this training machine and and get like volunteers to pretty much torture this
Like,
AI.
oh God.
Yeah, and like basically what I'm doing is I'm decontaminating it, quote unquote, and that's giving its memories back, but in the process, I'm also going to shut it down and basically figure out what makes it tick. So
Huh.
I'll get into the finer details in a second because uh it kind of it hurts to play, like honestly. Like you know that
Hmm.
like that one part of Undertale, or I don't know what part of Undertale where you gotta no one cares about spoilers for this game. It's old enough everyone.
It's 6 years old, I
Yeah.
think.
Like
Was that 2015? I don't remember.
anytime
Anyway, it's
you
old.
anytime you have to kill somebody in Undertale, which you don't have to kill anybody, but when you know, when that happens, you feel like shit. That's how I felt while I was playing
Yeah.
through the ending of the game. Like, keep in mind,
Gotcha.
this is still pretty. I would say it's in the survival horror, psychological horror category because
Yeah.
things are getting more and more glitchy. You finally get to like 99.9%, and the AI is just pleading with you to stop doing what you're doing.
Aw.
Like the AI is just like, why? I don't understand. Why was I tortured like this? And the AI realizes that uh, one of my favorite sci-fi tropes. This is not the first time that this has happened. In fact,
Ah.
the
Yeah.
AI was literally just strapped into this training computer for people who are starting their jobs at Enigma Corp. Um,
Two birds, one stone.
yeah,
Train an employee torture machine.
yeah, and like, I'm just thinking, why did they do this to the computer? Did it kill somebody? It must have killed
Like, what did
somebody.
it do?
Like that's all I could think of. I just thought it killed someone. And so okay, so then you go through all the dialogue options and conversation options, and you see level like 5 is unlocked. So I type in level 5. Everything is super messed up looking. It's like, well, actually, it looked like I was in space. Like there's this big area you keep
Hmm.
returning to where it's like a fountain, and the fountain has a
Okay.
statue on it, and like the statue on the fountain like shows how decontaminated the AI is, and it's like this. It's like a robot posing. That's what it looks like. Okay.
Okay.
And so when it was at 60% decontaminated, the statue like was curling over like it was in pain. Okay?
Ooh.
So this time though, I walk up and the fountain's there, the pedestal's there, the statue is not.
Oh boy. That's foreboding.
And I go over and I analyze the pedestal and it just says, "Watch your back." And I'm just like, "Oh,
Ah,
am I going to be chased by something?" And so
gun.
yeah, I walk around, I equip the gun, I go like through the next door, and the statue is right there, just runs up to me and basically tackles me. The game crashes to
Oh.
desktop. Okay, so I'm just sitting there freaking out. I boot the
What the
game up
fuck?
again. Yeah, I boot the game up again. And now it has gone from what looked like space to an actual hellscape.
Oh,
Every
lovely.
Everything is red. There's glitches everywhere, sometimes to the point where you can barely see what's going on. And there's like weird tendril things that are just kind of growing through the air, and it's really unsettling. And there's just constant blaring music, and I'm just like, all right, this is happening. I go back to where that robot was. It's not there anymore. I walk through, and I round the corner, go down the stairs, and then it says final mission: destroy all the terminals. So there's like little computer terminals that you're supposed to type stuff into.
Hmm.
And like, I'm just like, okay, whatever. And so I pull out my gun, and I really don't want to do this, you know, like, but also the AI is in pain, so I kind of just have to kill it, like a mercy
Yeah.
killing at this point. So I shoot the terminal, and it says terminal deleted and stuff. Then I just hear like screams and shouting and stuff. And now I'm just kind of like booking it through this Metroidvania level, all right? And I keep encountering that robot, and so I'm just shooting it and stuff, and sometimes it kills me, sometimes it doesn't. It's really unsettling because as you shoot it, it just starts like jiggling or whatever. Then you finally kill it, and it screams and disappears. Then it appears somewhere else in the map to chase you.
Hmm.
It's like a
Okay.
alien isolation sort of situation.
Yeah.
And so you run through the entire facility and you just shoot all the terminals, and yeah, that's basically the end of the game, question mark, or is it? Eventually
Unless.
it tells you to insert a final code into like a terminal. Okay, so I go to that terminal. It's not a computer terminal like the rest of them. It's just a pedestal thing. Okay,
Okay.
So I answer the code, door opens, I walk through the door, and I fall into the abyss. Okay? And
Okay.
as I'm falling into the abyss, one of the higher ups at Enigma Corp starts explaining what their motivation was for putting this AI through hell. All right.
Okay.
So you want to know what the AI did?
What?
It had free will.
Oh boy.
That's it. The AI was put through this hell just because. So it's really sad. Like its creator gave it a name. They gave it the name Red, and they just said I don't know why, but for some reason after the creator gave it a name, it developed free will and a personality. And so, and they're just kind of saying yeah, but when you put something through utter agony, then its true personality emerges, or you can figure out what makes it tick. Basically, it's
God.
basically they're just saying all this really fucked up shit. Like it's like, oh yeah, if we torture the computer enough, maybe we'll figure out why it developed free will in the first place. And apparently, the entire Dreamscape program was created for this purpose, just
Hmm.
to like
It's just an experiment.
it was an experiment because they wanted to see what gave this AI free will. And yeah, that's just the game. Like you don't get to
Oh,
there's no alternate ending or alternate route. You just
that's so sad.
yeah, you just do that to a computer and it's depressing. So,
Fucking. That's a Project Moon story.
oh yeah. What's Project Moon?
That they made Lobotomy Core and Library of Verona.
Oh damn. All right, well there's foreshadowing for a future episode, fellas.
Yeah.
I'm sure Brady would love to talk about that.
Oh yeah, he would love that.
Yeah.
Cause yeah, I won't get into it, but it's just the whole not liking AI being sentient.
Yeah, it's sad, man. So then
Yeah.
enter the second game in the series, which I actually played before this one. So it was very eye-opening going backwards. Um
Hmm.
so this one was what's it called? The um EchoStasis. Yeah. Like
And is this is still just in demo, right?
yeah, this
Or is the
was
full game out?
yeah, this is just a demo. So EchoStasis was made shortly after the first game came out actually. And I can already tell just from playing a little bit of it, like it looks a lot better and it's a lot more polished.
Hmm.
So EchoStasis starts out where well, you're walking through like a dreamscape or whatever. And it like
Yeah, this is the one I've actually seen.
yeah.
And it's super eerie.
It is very unsettling. Yeah. Like cuz it starts up like you're booting up a computer system and it's like I love the way it does this too because it's just very indirect. Like it's just saying error message something something, you know, a bunch of scrolling text. Then the last text at the bottom that you wouldn't notice unless you're like reading all of it. It just says you may be in contact with her. And I'm just like, who's her? Who is she? And then you just dropped into this walking simulator level. So you just walk around this really eerie looking landscape and just like, oh, uh, what's going on? Is somebody gonna attack me? What is this? And so like you know you go around, you solve a bunch of puzzles, you enter a cathedral, and then you find a statue of a woman. Okay, it looks like a Virgin Mary type of thing. Of course, if you look at the store page, you'll see this really horrifying looking statue, which is probably meant to be like symbolic or something. Basically,
Okay.
her is like a religious figure almost she's almost
Yeah.
been deified by people who use this system in the game. So it like it basically just says this isn't your world, turn back now. And so you turn around and you go up on a balcony and once again you find gun,
Just
a
hang
shotgun.
there. Yeah. Just got a gun.
Yeah. And so like I like go back down and it says, "Oh, you know what? Maybe you'll be of help of some use. You've got a gun now. You know what to do with it."
Wink.
So you shoot the statue. You see this massive field that's just really psychedelic looking thing with like a black hole inside of it. I don't want to say what it is yet because that's part of the story, right?
Hmm.
So a glowing figure just kind of floats out of it, and I hold the gun up and I shoot
Standing
him.
there menacingly.
Yeah, he's standing there. I shoot him, and then there's just a horrifying scream sound, and it instantly cuts.
It's like a half-second scream,
Yeah, like a perfectly cut screams meme.
and it's just fucking horrifying.
Yeah. Uh, but yeah, that's like the start of the game. Then you wake up and you go and find a computer terminal, and sorry, I was reading something off screen.
Yeah, you just kind of like walk into this place that has just like at the center of it, it's just a computer terminal.
Yeah, and it looks really nice. There's like rain on the outside of the windows and stuff. It's very pretty. And so you go up to the computer terminal and you talk to it, and it's an AI like before that you can talk to, but this time, hopefully, it's not being tortured.
Not, yeah.
Its responses are a little bit limited, but this time you have to like put text in. Like, okay, this is the part of the game that I really love. Like, I love it when games do this. They sort of force you to rethink how you see things. Basically, anytime you see any text that's in brackets, like literally any text that's in brackets, that's a conversation point that you can ask the AI. Like, you just write the text in brackets and it'll have something to say about that.
Yep.
And it's great because there's Easter eggs within the game that allow you to find like hidden routes just from using these brackets. Like, the AI is having some problems with one of the sleeping pod things. So in this game, it's not the dreamscapes aren't AI dreamscapes; they're actually people dreamscapes. Which, well, if you know anything about the first game, you can kind of see how this is a bad idea
Hmm.
because that thing that you saw earlier with the weird black hole and the structure around it, that's what they call a core, which is the how do you put this? It's the it's like the soul of a human being, but like with science and shit. It's where all of the stuff comes from. Like that one hypothesis about how the brain is an output device and not a
Yeah.
brain. It's like that. The core is what communicates with the human brain to make it do stuff. And so by taking a shotgun to that one core, you may or may not have replaced the engineer that should be working on at this facility and basically hijacked their mind.
Hmm.
And yeah, the demo is just fucking crazy. Like, I think
Yeah.
now we can go from talking about basic plot details and just talking about our experience playing this thing.
It's interesting because there's a lot in this demo.
Yeah, there is a lot. Like, when I first played it, I was like, oh yeah, I'll just go through here and I'll play the story normally, and that's the demo, right? And I was like, yeah, it's cool. I like talking to the AI, but it felt kind of boring when I was going through the walking simulator segment. I just thought they were disconnected. And then I tried showing the demo to you guys, and I walk up to a picture frame, and it has text in brackets on it. I'm just like, oh, that's neat. And then someone's like, hey, why don't you try putting those brackets into the machine? And I just turn around like, what? Oh?
The the huge of this game to me is that there are brackets everywhere.
Yeah.
Like they're few and far between, but they are in all parts of the game.
Yeah. It's like when you play 999 or something, and here we go. Uh, you play that game and you start seeing digital roots everywhere. Or like where you play The Witness and you start seeing dot line charts everywhere.
Yeah.
Like you see the brackets and then suddenly it's like, oh, there's a poster over there on the wall. There's text that's in brackets. I should try using that. You keep finding stuff like that.
Any game that gives me a feeling of maybe I should look into the program files, that is super cool to me.
Yeah, actually, I haven't done that yet. Like, I bet there's probably something in there. Because, like,
I'd imagine the full game, yeah,
oh yeah,
possibly in the demo, but I would love it for that to be part of the full game.
I actually just contacted the guy who made the game on Twitter because he posted like an hour ago about how the game was going to be delayed by a few months.
Mhm.
Apparently, he wanted it to come out this summer, but then he had more ideas, so he had to delay it. Hopefully, he doesn't power creep it and
Yeah.
then just never release the game.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I tried putting in some bracket text from the first game. Like I tried typing in red, didn't work. But maybe that'll be in the final cut.
Who knows? Yeah.
I think we're playing this demo a bit further, and I tried like because in the demo you can get decently far into the first um, dreamscape, but it's still at some point it cuts you off and just says this is the end of the demo area. So like I got there and I was just like, oh, that was pretty cool, and then I quit.
Yeah.
But then we tried going back and finding different routes because like with each dreamscape you've only got 60 seconds to walk through the entirety of the thing. And like I go back through the different route and I find a shotgun again, and I also find the core or whatever. And like from there, the game just starts getting weird and corrupted, and like the AI is just like, "What are you doing? What? Wait, you're not the engineer, are you? You got hijacked." And then just things just start spiraling out of control. It was such a crazy experience, though.
Hmm. It's like surrealism too. Like not like intense surrealism, but like you're in this weird place. Sometimes there's floating human creatures,
Yeah,
and it's just like also the art style just kind of adds to it.
yeah. The art style is really cool. There's like a
It's like
there's like a CRT filter over everything, and it gets all
yeah,
glitchy.
I've seen models and buildings made in that way before, but I have no idea what to call it.
Uh, I don't know. There must be a word for it. I know that the demo was put on a thing called PS1 Horror, or maybe the original game
Yeah.
was like that. I don't think this one would qualify anymore because they do this kind of cool thing where when you're inside of the dreamscapes, like when you're inside the dreamscapes, you have like yeah, everything looks all polygonal, and it looks like a PS1 game. But then when you're outside of them, like it just looks like a normal computer game, like something you'd see in Unity
Hmm.
first person shooter 101.
Yeah, yeah.
The dreamscape itself is a lot less polygonal, lower quality. There we go. uh,
I think one of the interesting parts of a game like this is the fact that when you hit credits, you are still playing the game
oh yeah,
because
yeah, that's
throughout the
crazy.
entire credits, we are looking for brackets.
Yeah, that's right. We were, and I think we found a couple things too.
Yeah.
Like there's brackets everywhere too. Like I mentioned the poster. There's like I didn't discover this the first time I played, but when you boot up the game and it shows all that text on screen where it says you may be in contact with her, it says press F11 to boot up BIOS, and I was just like, oh, let's click on that. There were two new bracket things there that were both they added even more to the story. And like the story gets really convoluted. Like I thought that there was like gonna be a reference to the first game, but there isn't quite that. Like the first game is just a side story of just how fucked up this facility is.
Yeah.
They're just
I
like,
mean,
yeah, we took an AI and we locked it in a cage and forced it to relive its death thousands of times. And
yeah, I imagine there's gonna be more in the full game, but
oh yeah,
yeah, in demo there's
and the,
nothing.
and the closer that it gets to dying, the more it remembers. So right before it dies, it remembers every single death that came before it.
Oh, God.
Amazing. And the game forces you to kill it again. Like in this one, it was like there's like a problem with like the one of the dreamscapes, and so in this case, the dreamscapes are like not AIs with humans. I've mentioned that before, but I figured I
Hmm.
should clarify. It looks like this weird vaporwave thing, really. Like I think
Yeah.
that's the aesthetic of the game. It's all like
Yeah, it's
incredibly
there's certain
vaporwave.
shots that are very this is like a vaporwave YouTube background.
Yeah, it's like vaporwave but horror. And so there's like a problem with one of the entity tanks that a person is in, and the entity tanks with the dreamscapes. The dreamscapes themselves are like an algorithm created utopia, and I think that's one of the creepiest parts of the game because the AI is explaining to you what an algorithm is, okay? And like, oh, it's like, oh yeah, it's years ago they used an algorithm to recommend videos to people and stuff and things on websites. And I'm just sitting there like, oh yeah, I remember that. But then the algorithm was made to make stuff that catered to people's needs, and then this led even further into making things that literally just are reality. Like, algorithm created utopias,
Yeah,
individually
just like,
curated for people.
yeah, everything is made for you.
And so but you go into this utopia, quote unquote utopia, and it's all desolate and looks like it was broken down. Like, the word abandoned is used several times in there, even in brackets. So you ask
Yeah.
what abandoned means, and it's just like, well, it appears that this person became complacent with their utopia and just didn't like being there. I don't think they even want to be inside that machine. I think this is like a sleep pod situation.
Mm.
But that's theory crafting stuff there.
Yeah, like a simulated utopia inside a dystopia.
Yeah, yeah. Or like they're just being locked in there against their will.
Hmm.
But yeah, it just goes really hard and doesn't stop.
Yeah, it's just like I want to go deeper into the game, but obviously it's not out yet.
Yep. It's still has yet to release. Well, I mean, the demo just dropped a few weeks ago, so.
Yeah, demo's super new,
Hmm.
so. But yeah, like goddamn.
Yep. But anyway, I suppose that's a good stopping point for our first episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, feel free to check out the Enigma machine and EchoStasis on Steam. They're both really good games. And
Hmm.
with that, we'll see you next week.